Capricorn, Dark Dove Tarot here. Hope everybody's doing fantastic. As you know, I like to add a little energy to the cards, but I always pre-shuffle. I am changing my reads up a little bit. I usually focus on love and relationships, as you know, for singles and couples, but I'm actually doing more of a singles and anybody looking to reconcile, or maybe anybody who's been broken up. Just seems that most of the people who contact me or who have needed private readings generally are the ones asking are single or looking to reconcile. So I did want to kind of focus on those aspects, just since it seems to be those are the people watching the videos and wanting the reads, etc. So if that disappoints anybody, I'm happy to hear your feedback. Again, any likes, subscribes, comments, you know, if you want a private read, donation, etc., the information is below in the description. General read, so check your sun, moon, and rising, as you can always get a little more clarity if you check those as well. I like to move pretty fast, as I always say. I have a lot to get out, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. So let's get started. Again, hope everybody is doing well for June. All right, Capricorn. So the first card is always your current state of mind, or where you're coming into the month, and you have the moon. So the moon is actually a good card, but there is a little bit of hesitation associated with this. So for singles, this is dreaming about what the future holds, dreaming about, you know, any possible dating scenarios, you know, your future partner, what you really want, which is really good. But some of you are a little timid, or maybe you're not even timid, you took a break for a while and now you're getting back out there. Maybe you split up with somebody and took some time off and now you're ready to start dating again. So the moon has phases, just like, you know, maybe dating will have phases for you, because sometimes it will be super positive, sometimes it might be negative. And it's also, the moon is kind of like, you're not sure what's around the corner. And so you're excited, but there's a little bit of like illusion to it because you're not quite sure what to think, right? This is, it could be that, you know, it's, you know, not a full moon. And so only part of what you're able to see is illuminated right now. Maybe even dating a couple people, or you've narrowed it down to one or two, and you're kind of like, okay, they look like this person, they seem like this type of person, but, you know, have I seen them the entire way? Or maybe, you know, there's one or two in particular that you like, and you're kind of waiting for like the moon to shine on a whole different part that you haven't seen. Like maybe you're nervous that, you know, you think that's a really good person, but once they're fully illuminated, you're going to find out differently. And that could just be apprehension from, you know, previous experiences, or just the fact that I know dating nowadays is so much harder to a certain extent. I've heard people just have horror stories, and I've done the online dating too. So, I mean, it can be terrifying, and, you know, they say technology is supposed to make it easier, but sometimes it makes it easier to find some creepy people too. So, with that being said, though, I think it's good because the moon is overall positive. It's a fear, but it's not a fear that's like taking your breath away, or a fear that's like detrimental, or something that you really fear. It's like, again, an illusional fear. So it's like, or delusional fear, I guess I should say, more of creating illusions, because you're nervous, but nothing bad perhaps has really happened. And for anybody wondering about, you know, their ex, it's the same type of thing. Or if you're wondering if you're going to reconcile, maybe they have contacted you and you're just like, wait a minute. So, you know, maybe I'm only getting a sliver of what's going on, or maybe they've said they've changed, but I haven't seen the big picture yet. And maybe you haven't seen the changes, and so you're kind of nervous and hesitant about, you know, is that really happening? And if you're not, you know, if you're looking to reconcile, but you're not in contact with that person, this is kind of like, if you're wanting to get in contact with them, I would make sure that they don't pull the wool over your eyes, that this isn't like something that you're going to get back into the situation that you originally separated from. So just keep that in mind. Okay, the next card you have is going to be anything internal. So this is, you know, feelings that could hinder or help your state of mind. And you have the Queen of Swords. So the Queen of Swords is good because this is somebody who is looking for answers. This is somebody who is insightful. They're looking for clarity. So, you know, for singles, it's the same thing. I get the feeling that a lot of you have met a few people and you're still dating or still considered single, but maybe you're dating exclusively one or two people just to see how it's, you know, gonna play out. And this really says that you're looking at these people as possibly somebody that you could spend a lot of time with, and somebody that could be a part of your future long term. But again, something tells me with this moon and then this kind of clarity needed by the Queen that maybe you did have a past where things were very unclear, or you just were lied to, or somebody was bullshitting you a lot and you're kind of like, you know, that's ridiculous and I've got to let the past go. And not everybody's like that, but there's still that sense of needing to know exactly who you're dating and needing to know that you're not going to get back into the same situation again. It's really about being critical, but I don't sense that you're being critical in like this conceited, harsh way, more critical and some of you are being really critical of yourself. So you might want to watch that too, because this definitely tells me that you're almost sinking back into the, am I good enough to date? Am I good enough person? You know, will people like me? Again, like I said, it's intimidating. I mean, all of it. And some of you are doing it, you know, for the first time in a long time. And again, some of you have been doing it for a while and have met some people, but you've had ups and downs in the dating world. And you're just kind of like, maybe you really started to like somebody before and it became nothing. It was like stagnant, or they ghosted, or whatever all those terms are called. And for anybody who's, you know, separated, it's the same thing. This tells me that, you know, with your ex, you're looking for, you're ready to move on to date, unless, you know, you're looking to reconcile. But I really get the feeling most of you are just wanting to know what happened. You want some honest answers. You want to find out, you know, why this happened. So that makes me feel like maybe, I don't know, I really feel like it's 50-50 right now. Like some of you were the you know, breaker, and some of you were the person who got broken in the relationship. And some of you are saying, why, what's going on? I want honesty. And maybe you're getting a little more insight and starting to feel better about everything and realize that you can move on. And then some of you are upset because you found out somebody was cheating, or they weren't being honest with you. All of a sudden money just popped into my head. So maybe they were not telling you the truth about something. Maybe they weren't being truthful about their job. Maybe they were spending money and lying about it. But you're definitely still seeking answers, some of you, as to what really happened. The next card you have is the past. And I always read this regardless of whether you're single, coupled, you know, separated, etc. And you have, let's see, the Five of Cups. So the Five of Cups is, as you can see, kind of dreary. This is all about loss and grief, sadness. So some of you had an actual loss, like a death. You're mourning a family member, or a partner, or a husband, or a wife, or even a child. And this isn't just sadness or grief, like, oh, we broke up and I'm sad. It could be, but this is gut-wrenching. Whenever I see this card, it makes me want to hold my breath, because it's like you wanted to be alone after whatever happened in the past. You wanted to be alone so bad because you couldn't bear the thought of being around other people. You couldn't bear the thought of having to put on a face and smile, and you wanted to cry. And maybe some of you sank into a deep depression or anxiety, but this is definitely telling me that some of you, and this is distant past, so this is over the past few years. I mean, it could be the past few months for a few of you, but generally this is, you know, distant past. But this just tells me, you know, maybe it was a parent and you just could not get over that to even think about having a love life. Or again, it could have been a spouse, or it could have been a partner or a child. Whatever this was took its toll, and it was long term. For some of you, again, deep depression, anxiety. I always have a hard time breathing when I see this card, if it comes up, especially in like a past, in a past situation, because this card is the ultimate just loss. I mean, devastation. And it's tragedy. For some of you, it was a tragedy, maybe just a terrible tragedy. And for that, I'm truly sorry. So it's always important to reflect on the past. We don't want to dwell in it. But I think that part of this may be something, and for some reason, I'm getting like feelings of somebody losing a parent when they were really young, and watching like a single parent, or maybe like there was some really traumatic abuse between the parents, or even like towards you or whatever, and it was just kind of, you have a hard time trusting, and I kind of feel like that's fed into some of your relationships, and that's why you're kind of hesitant sometimes when you date, because you kind of feel like you never know what you're going to get, and even if you think you have a really good idea of what you're going to get, you just don't. Or this also means that maybe some of you are so scared to lose somebody again that you just don't know how to go about doing it and being happy about it, because you always wait for the other shoe to drop. So don't dwell in the past. I know easier said than done, but take what you can to learn from it, take the good parts from it, and try and remember not to get caught up into the past or let it affect anything good that's coming for you. The next card you have is going to be the most recent past, and this is over the past few weeks generally, and you have the Three of Coins. Let's see. And the Three of Coins, so this is good. This tells me that this is about working together. This is about being satisfied with something, accomplishing something. So, okay, so for those of you who are looking to reconcile or wondering if you're going to get back together with your ex, this is kind of a, maybe you have been dealing with them, you have been talking to them, you have been interacting with them, and this card suggests that you're working together on a resolution. So maybe you're still seeking this honesty, this clarity of the Queen, and there's like a development of, you guys are just able to actually have a conversation and talk about things. Maybe you're not getting back together. Maybe you reached out to them and said, hey, I really need an answer on why we separated. Or maybe some of you are even doing that thing, I forget, I think there's a name for it, where you go back and you talk to people in your past, like past relationships, and ask them like, why didn't we work out? Like, now that we've come so far, can you talk to me about that? So maybe some of you are doing that with your ex. Maybe you're still friends and you've realized that you're better off friends. And for some of you, this may also be that your separation was a divorce, or, splitting up time with kids, and you're acting as a team. So maybe you couldn't act as a team before, and now you are. And, that's an excellent feeling. This is, again, about accomplishment, satisfaction. So for some of you, it could be work. Some of you maybe have focused a lot on work, and now you're kind of coming in to the month ready to date. For those of you who do have a few of people that you're interested in dating, you are feeling satisfied. But there's more steps to this phase, right? You have more coins, coming. The Three is just kind of in the beginning of the suit, right? So even though you're satisfied now, you're still seeking some sort of, okay, this is good, but I'm not sure about this, or I'm not sure about this about this person. Again, don't be too overcritical of them, and don't be too overcritical of yourself, because the Three definitely tells me that something positive is, you're building up to something positive. So that's good. The next card you have is going to be in time, future possibilities. And you have Temperance. So Temperance is all about balance and moderation. So again, for people looking to reconcile, this card definitely rings out that it's compromise and cooperating. So maybe you are friends, maybe you are in communication, and maybe you do feel like you could reconcile, and maybe they do too, but you're kind of communicating as friends. You're not moving too fast into anything. You're just kind of letting things lay. and letting things go, and you're not pushing anything, and you're trying to balance everything out. For singles, this also is very strong that you're trying to balance things out. So you've been really work focused lately, and that's really good. But you're learning to kind of balance being able to date and keep people interested too, because it seems like maybe for before a lot of you were keeping busy in work, so you didn't really have to focus on love or emotions or finding somebody. And this is okay, you're ready to do it, but you've got to take it seriously too, because you don't want to be half in half out. You don't want to go out, meet people, waste their time, waste your time, to just have you get too busy with things to where you can't balance it out. So this definitely says that that's what you're trying to do. It's also moderation. So you're not burning the candle on both ends. You're not overworking, and you're not over dating, so to speak, or you're not going out and partying, or you're not filling up your schedule with all these dates to where you don't have enough time for yourself. This is kind of like a life work balance, soul, personal, making everything kind of in sync. And that's definitely super important. And this is over the next few months. So this is like kind of a process you'll be going through. You'll be, if you are reconciling, or if you're looking to, it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen in 2 weeks. This is going to take, a few months to move along and, and see it come to fruition if that's what you're wanting. And for some of you, it may not. For some of you, like I said, this could be the 3 of coins, where it's the teamwork and the hard work, and you divorced or you separated and you're heading for divorce, and you're both fine with it, and you're finally acting like, 2 adults who are able to handle the fact that they're no longer together, but take care of kids or pets or houses or whatever the case may be that you have to separate or balance your time with. So definitely a good future. But it's not going to give you fast results. It's going to allow you the time, especially for singles, to develop a positive, healthy relationship with yourself and with somebody else. The next card you have is going to be the immediate future, so over the next few weeks. And you have the Page of Cups. So the Page of Cups is all about emotions, feelings, and this tells me that a lot of you are. Maybe you did come out of this and it's still affecting you, or maybe you came out of a relationship and took that time off that you needed, and you're now, now that you're dating, and maybe again you found a few, or maybe you're just starting to date. This is allowing yourself to feel the emotions, not diving into work too much to where you block everything out, not going into it dating because you're protecting yourself, and so you're not letting your guard down. This is you opening up. And maybe for the singles who have met somebody, 1 or 2 people special, maybe you're on a new level now. You're opening up a little more, and this temperance over the next few months is going to allow you to moderately open up, because I don't see you spilling your guts and gushing all over the place, but that tells me that somebody's going to be patient with you, because let's face it, right now I feel like they're going to need to be patient with you, and you're going to also be patient with them, but you're allowing them to see a little bit of your softer side right now, and that's important. This is also childlike, so some of you are pregnant. This could be for couples, this could be for people who are separated, or singles, but this card carries a very childlike situation, and there's also innocence involved here. So for people who are separated, again, something to do with kids keeps coming up here. So maybe it was devastating at first. Maybe this is, for some of you, this is a divorce that was, a year or 2 ago, you guys decided to do it. Things have been rocky, kind of tragic, and now you're feeling better about the situation. You're able to come together and take care of your kids and both have time with your kids without tearing each other down. And so you're turning a new leaf. Again, for a lot of you, this could also revel back to maybe having some emotion. Maybe this month represents the loss of, your loved one. Maybe that's why this card came up this month, and this card's coming up. Maybe, again, this could be miscarriages. This could be any type of loss, and maybe this month represents the anniversary of it, and you're okay with it. Not okay, but okay with it. You're able to deal with it on a level that doesn't bring you to such, terrorizing anxiety and depression. So, okay, it seems like the immediate future with the page is definitely about, finding yourself, being yourself, and allowing others in a little bit more. The next card you have is going to be the external factors. So anything tangible that really can affect your future. And you have the Knight of Coins. So that's interesting. That's all about work. So that tells me that, over the next few weeks, you are going to be working. But I'm not working very hard. It's going to be methodical and very hard working. But for the majority of you, again, you're balancing that out because you realize that you do want to meet somebody special and you do want to build a relationship with somebody eventually. And for a lot of you, this is hardworking at dating, but this is also a sign of being cautious too. So you are taking your time to meet the right person for you. You are being cautious in your selection and who you do open your heart up to, and making sure that it feels right to you. Maybe you haven't picked somebody healthy for you in a long time, and for the first time you've decided that you're not going to just settle. You're going to make sure it's right for you, and that's super important. For people looking to reconcile, this tells me that you're working hard at whatever you're doing if you are in connection with them. If you're not in connection with them, doesn't mean that it can't happen. It doesn't mean that it won't happen, but this tells me that you're probably not interested in meeting your soulmate. So you may just be dating around, or maybe not even dating. Maybe you're single, but you're just kind of ugh, I'm not really interested. I still care about my ex. I'm not really sure what happened here. Again, you're seeking the clarity here. You're just kind of what the heck happened? You're kind of fearful for what's going on. And the Knight tells me that you're going to put a lot of energy into just working and not paying attention to dating or any of that. For some of you who are separated and wondering what's going on, you're not even focused on anything else but making money, keeping your mind busy, your mind preoccupied, and just being kind of a dutiful employee, or if you run your own company or whatever, a dutiful owner, or whatever the case may be. The next card you have is going to be internal factors for the future, and these are feelings and emotions that might affect you throughout the month. And you have the Nine of Wands. So even though that card can look a little nerve-wracking, it's actually all about strength and capability and building something. So for those of you not looking to meet anybody and you're just being the hard worker because maybe you're separated, that's exactly what you're doing here. You're just capable, working hard, and you're just making things happen, moving and shaking in the employment sector, and not too worried about meeting somebody right now. And it's interesting because I don't think that your partner is either, because I think that if there was a feeling that they were looking for somebody else, or they weren't wanting to reconcile with you, or they weren't still thinking about you or missing you, you would be more terrified throughout this. And I don't see anything that tells me that you're on edge because they're out dating and doing stuff. I really feel like the separation's been hard on both of you. For those of you who are single, this is stamina. This is strength. So the 9 represents internally your, again, mentally becoming more aware of how you feel and who you are, and the fact that you really do want to meet somebody. And so this is, you're keeping up. It's almost like you're able to so it's not necessarily stamina in stamina being able to run for long periods of time or whatnot. It's more stamina of you're keeping an even keel. So you're not letting depression or anxiety or pass or anything like that. Your stamina is increasing day by day with your want and need to actually have human connection again and human interaction. on a physical, mental, emotional level. And so, and you're very capable of that. And it's like you're growing stronger and stronger by the day internally, which is going to affect you externally, because you're going to be better at work. You're going to be better at how you feel. You're going to look better. You're going to take better care of yourself. And so the 9 is definitely like you're growing towards something. You're moving. You're making things happen. And that's definitely a positive card. It's like you're believing in yourself. And I feel like for some of you, it's the first time in a long time that you've really, truly believed in yourself, and not wholeheartedly, like you're still working on it. But this tells me that you actually believe that you're going to get where you want to be, and it's building day by day. So that's definitely a good sign. The next card you have is going to, well, the next 2 cards are going to be your hopes and fears for the month and your outcome. So your hopes and fears are going to be the 4 of Swords, and your outcome is the World, and that's a beautiful outcome. So the 4 of Swords is, it's tiring. So a lot of you are going to be worn out by the end of this month, because you are doing a lot of soul searching. You are making things happen. You are letting your emotions flow freely, which we all know. If you're emotional, then it takes a toll on you. I mean, come on. Sometimes we just need that jarring cry, and you could fall asleep like a baby right after it, right? So it's like you're exhausted. You need some recuperation. You need to rest. And that's definitely what the 4 of Swords represents. And I think that goes for both singles and anybody who's looking to reconcile, or anybody who's separated. You too are working really hard, and you're going to be exhausted. You're going to wear yourself out with the work so that you don't have to concentrate on the ex or what's happening. Again, if you are like talking and, getting to know each other, it's exhausting too, because some of you truly miss this person and they truly miss you. You're just not sure how to overcome what happened, and it's kind of like, if we get back together, can we overcome whatever this obstacle was? Because I don't feel like for the most of you, some of you were cheated on, or something was really deceitful, because the Queen has you seeking clarity and honesty. But for the most part, I don't think that's it. I think it was more, you didn't see eye to eye on certain things, and, you both just needed a break to figure out what you wanted. And it's been exhausting. And for singles, dating's been exhausting. Meeting new people's been exhausting. Having the stamina of believing in yourself and really building yourself up and making yourself feel amazing, and letting your emotions run a little more freely, and you're still working hard and balancing everything out. You're exhausted, and that card represents needing to rest. So if you're mentally exhausted, you're probably physically exhausted. So by the end of the month, you're going to want to take some time to rest and recuperate, but it's not going to be a bad exhaustion. Does that make sense? Sometimes you're exhausted, but in a good way, and that's how this is feeling. The last card you have is your outcome, and that's the World. So it pretty much is what it talks about. It's accomplishment. So for those of you not looking for any type of love, but wondering, what your future's looking like with your ex and whatnot, this is kind of saying, you're going to accomplish a lot at work, but you also are going to either, so the World represents completion. So for some of you, it's over and you're not going to reconcile, and you are going to complete it and move on, and you're going to take the highway down to, wherever you want to go. The life highway begins again for you, and you're going to move on and make things happen. But for quite a few of you, it also means that you're going to start feeling like you belong together again. There's going to be like a meshing. You're going to start feeling like you want to be together. And, if you want to reconcile, that's definitely a positive for you. It's kind of like you both kind of belong into each other, fit into each other's worlds now. And it's like your oyster, and you can both, do what you need to do. So by the end of June, it's definitely moving in the right direction. Again, this Temperance says over the next couple of months, it's going to take compromise, and you're going to have to be able to do that and do it peacefully, or you're going to be back in the same situation you were, and then the whole reconciliation will be for naught. For those of you who aren't sure if you want to reconcile, but you're working really hard, again, like I said, you're going to accomplish a lot, and I think it's going to be, up to you what road that you take. If you're going to be completely done and you're going to just decide it's not for you, I don't know. I think a majority of you, even if you're just not sure what's going on and so you're not really looking, I think that you're going to be in contact with your ex. But I think that you won't really know what's going to happen until, July or August. I don't see anything major coming along for those of you who haven't been in contact and haven't been already treading that water. I think that you'll start having contact by the end of this month. For singles, this is an excellent card because this is also about belonging for you. So you are going to meet some amazing people. Again, I think you'll narrow it down to one or two people. You're going to feel like you guys belong together. You're going to start feeling like you belong in this world. You're going to start feeling good about yourself and understanding where you are and being very self-aware, but also self-aware or also aware of the world around you and how you fit in. You're going to feel at peace. You're going to start noticing things that you wouldn't really notice before, like the fresh air and different things you kind of needed to kind of pull yourself out of whatever funk that you've been in before, that's weighed on you before. This is, about fulfillment. So you're going to find somebody who's satisfying. Maybe by the end of the month, again, I think it's going to come with some compromise. I think that you still have some things that you need to figure out about yourself, and you're going to be patient with them. They're going to be patient with you. But this outcome is definitely excellent because it's basically, same thing I said to people wondering about their exes. It's your path to take. So you don't have to decide on anything right this way, but like the road's clear. So go for it. Go for what you want. If you find something great, grab a hold of it, get to know that person, enjoy it, open up a little bit, let your emotional side show, and you're going to feel very fulfilled. And again, I keep going back, Capricorn, at saying, but I think you're just going to feel fulfilled all the way around. Fulfilled at work, fulfilled with yourself, your inner self, and fulfilled with the people that you're going to start meeting and dating. Or if you have met a few people, I think this says by the end of June or shortly thereafter, you'll be choosing one person or, maybe deciding that you want to get pretty serious or commit to one person in particular. So anyways, I hope that this resonates with you and you have a great June, and I'll see you next month.